Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, we get jobs at the Nintendo store in San Francisco on the off chance Miyamoto decides to do an undercover boss thing. Another quest will start from here. Press the start button. So the Nintendo Cartridge Society presses the start button with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, and then on Thursday, we are reflecting on my Buy Everything Nintendo Puts Out in 2024 experiment, seeing how much I spent and how much I enjoyed that, and how much I spent in addition to what was asked of me. But Mark, in the meantime, how's it going?
It's going great. That Zelda quote reminds me of something that I've been noticing when we play these retro games, sometimes for NCS Arcade.
Yes.
That I've forgotten about. Like when we got to the end of Toe Jam and Earl, you complete Toe Jam and Earl, and there's no like escape from that screen other than restarting the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of time, like I think maybe Metroid was the same way, but I feel like I encounter it, you know, when we're playing these retro games.
Totally.
And it surprises me every time where I'm like, I want the finality of leaving that screen, of knowing that there is nothing left. Like, I want to go back.
Okay, but going back means there's like, you can play again. Right? The finality, there's something, okay, so in a time before like New Game Plus, it was very cool to reach the end of a long 80-hour RPG and that it would just like end at like a Final Fantasy, right? Like Final Fantasy VI, you finish it, and it's just like a screen that says the end, and then there are like stars, and there's just the like Final Fantasy prelude, like harp thing, right?
Right.
And that's it. That'll go on forever. You have to turn it off in order to like go back to playing anything.
And that always throws me. The fact that the game like is just gonna keep just existing until you press reset or until you turn it off or whatever.
You want it to like fade to black, house lights come up.
Yeah, that's right. I wanted to like fade to black and then take me back to the title screen.
No, you don't. If you go back to the title screen, it means it wants you to play again.
Yeah. I guess I'm just so used to that experience now that it just throws me every time that it doesn't end that way.
Right. It is like, especially when people are like playing on emulators or whatever, games that they've never like actually turned off, right? That like when they get to a screen where there's no way out of it except for resetting it, I can understand where that would be like disorienting.
Yeah, it just feels weird.
It is. I mean, it is certainly a strange thing that happened. I think my favorite video game ending that I ever experienced was the game Rampage. At the end of the game Rampage, which is like 200 levels, right? And they're so repetitive, they don't really get harder. Like it just keeps going. But at the end of Rampage, it just says it's like a screen of like, you know, the city, just like the normal, like you're playing the game, and both monsters are like on buildings, just like you can make them do during the game. And there's just text that says congratulations, and then it starts over.
That's pretty good.
I guess what am I expecting of Rampage?
Mark, I don't know. After playing 200 levels of Rampage,
yeah, you should get out. It should just go to a black screen. Start your TV
it's like
on
being
fire.
Released from prison.
Yeah, sure.
You're free.
You need to be rehabilitated somehow. Mark, today, March 18th, is 15 days away from the Switch to Nintendo Direct.
Oh my gosh. That's so hard to believe.
I know.
We're like into 2-week territory. Almost.
We're into almost 2-week territory. And we are going to be recording an episode about predictions, about what's going to happen in this Direct. But they are not going to be our predictions. They are going to be your predictions. So if you have predictions, email us, Nintendo Cartridge Society
@gmail.com.
No later than March 26th at noon. So you have a little over a week to get your predictions into us.
Yeah, let us know. What do you think the price is going to be?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Like,
when's it going to come out?
When's it going to come out?
Mm-hmm.
Will it be bundled with a game? What game will Nintendo include or have it launched to show off its new capabilities?
Are there new online features? Hint, we're going to talk about some of that later.
Do we think Miyamoto will even be there?
Do we think Miyamoto will even be there? how many times do they say the word Mario?
Yeah. All
Right.
these, we would love to have your predictions for any of these or anything else you want to predict.
Yeah. So email us. We will include them. We will talk about them. It's going to be a fun episode. Thank you to everyone who has already contributed predictions. It's a good amount, but Mark, I would like more.
Yeah, we're greedy that way.
We're greedy that way. Here's a way in which we're not greedy. Smooth and bad transition. Don't have people thinking about your greed as you plug patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society, where you can support us. And if you are doing so at the 8 or 16-bit levels, you get access to our once-a-month episodes of miniseries like NCS Arcade.
Yes, and just a reminder, programming note for the March episode of NCS Arcade, we are going to be talking about Donkey Kong 94, which actually I think will be nice to have a little bit of a like Alien Resurrection. What was a trilogy suddenly becomes a quadrilogy.
Right. Well, and I was upset at the end of the Donkey Kong trilogy when Donkey Kong gets thrown into a vat of molten hot lead.
Yeah, and like when Donkey Kong Jr. just dies in the spaceship at the beginning.
It's
off screen.
And then they show us like an on-screen autopsy of Donkey Kong Jr. and they crack his ribs open in front of Donkey Kong.
Yeah, no thank you.
It's cruel stuff.
So it will be nice to revisit Donkey Kong 94. And by revisit, I mean play for the first time. And so we will doing that. We will be doing that for March. But Okami is still on the menu, and we'll be talking about Okami in April. We just need a little bit more time.
Look, we're cowards. We saw how long Okami is, and we were like, uh-oh. So yes, we're going to be playing Donkey Kong for the Game Boy for March, and then Okami for April, and it'll all be good. So follow us there if you are interested in any of those. Also, we have free listener feedback episodes that are that anyone can listen to as long as you're following us on Patreon, even at the $0 level. So do that if you want to hear.
Those are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we just posted one last week about Toe Jam and Earl. So check that out.
Speaking of things you can do for free, you can join our Discord. It's where we're all talking about Nintendo stuff basically all the time. There's a direct coming up. You better believe that we're all going to be chatting about it there. Last thing I want to plug before we get into what we've been playing, I'm on Call Me By Your Game, Connor McCabe's podcast this week for my return episode. I was originally on episode number 42. Now this is episode like 200 something. Maybe it's not that high. Maybe it's 100. But it doesn't matter. But I'm talking about Battletoads for the NES.
That'll be awesome.
So check that out. So that'll be out tomorrow. All right, Mark, let's get into what we've been playing this week. I'm sorry. I'm just a little distracted as my buildings text thread is popping off right now. Because someone wants to borrow an onion. This is what's happening. It's popping up on my computer.
That would be distracting.
It's distracting.
Do they want to borrow an onion, or they just want an onion?
I mean, they want to borrow an onion, but like when you lend someone an onion, you're giving them the onion.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess that's not crazy. I guess people. Can I borrow a cup of sugar? Can I have a cup of sugar?
Yeah. I mean, I think they probably said, hold on, let's go back. I don't have an onion. Might I borrow an onion from someone and return one to you tomorrow?
Oh, okay, but I bet they'll just go to the store tomorrow,
right,
and buy a replacement onion. I think we got to the bottom of this.
I think we did too.
But I can see how that'd be distracting.
It's distracting because I'm thinking about like how can I help, and I'm just like, no, you're not. There are other people who live in the building. They've already responded. It's working itself out. Mark, what have you been playing this week?
Well, I turned on Tetris 99 to check out the Xenoblade Chronicles X Tetris Maximus Cup. And, I'm not amazing at Tetris 99, but normally I can hold my own. Like, I'm regularly in the top 20 and all that stuff.
Yes.
But maybe, for whatever reason, maybe it was the time of day that I was playing, or I don't know, maybe I totally lost it since the last Tetris Maximus Cup. But I got my butt kicked from here to whatever planet Xenoblade Chronicles X takes place on. Like
Earth.
I was oh boy.
Right.
I was regularly
from here to Earth.
I was regularly in like just being demolished by like I was like the 80th person to go out.
Right.
It was rough going. It
Or
was
you
rough
were
going.
in 80th place when you got
Yes.
kicked
That,
out, 'cause
yeah.
That's like
yeah.
being the 20th person.
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
kicked out.
you're right. I was in 80th place. I was like the 10th person to go
Right.
out. Like regularly between 95, like 95th place and 80th place, just over and over and over again. And it was like as soon as it started, my screen was just overwhelmed.
Filled with-
And I have no idea why. Why? Like, what was I doing that could possibly make me such a target?
Well, here's one of the things that I did notice was playing the Tetris Maximus Cup this weekend is, you can like target, knockouts or badges
Right.
or random. There was a new option in there that just says Mark Mitchell.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think maybe people were just doing that.
Yeah. That feels purposeful.
And like hurtful.
And
Right?
a little hurtful, yeah.
Mark, I had forgotten about this, and wasn't really until our Discord was talking about it, that I woke up this morning on the other side of like a big deadline that I met, so I felt really good about that. I was like, okay, I'm gonna see if I can get this thing before I got to leave for work this morning. Turned it on, played one game, first place, one and done.
Oh, I'm so happy for you.
It felt great. I was so happy. And I did what I always do when I get a Tetris Maximus, which is I recorded video of it. Right? And all of my Tetris Maximus win videos are like this, where I'm I'm playing frantically and poorly at the end. Because like the damage that you deal to the last remaining player is going to be something that you did like a minute before you actually win. Right. So when you're actually,
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it takes a long time to like build those things up. You execute on them, and that's what like messes up your opponent. And it takes, a full minute for them to like get it and lose from it. So like the last 30 seconds are always just me like, getting like ones and twos and like just barely scraping by. So none of the videos are impressive, but it was very exciting to see the bar go from 0 to 100 in one thing.
Yeah, what happens when you get is there any like celebration for winning?
Yeah, and there's like different music at the end when you get the first place victory. I hated the music in this one.
Okay, I wanted to ask you about this because I maybe once or twice made it out of the into 50th place and above. When that's the first time that the music changes.
Yes.
And so what did the music become? Because it was all like butt rock.
Yeah.
For so much
remains
of it,
butt rock.
with lyrics like "Gotta get a bigger gun,"
yes,
and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, it's embarrassing throughout. Like, there's no part of that music that I like. It's just like this is the kind of thing where sometimes these Tetris Maximus themes make me go, oh, I should check it. I should check that game out. Like, there's something fun about either the music or the look of this, and seeing Xenoblade Chronicles X like displayed on top of my Tetris, I was just like, oh yeah, I don't need this.
Well, which is so funny because I feel like the Xenoblade Chronicles series is renowned for its like beautiful orchestral score, and
this is the thing about Japanese RPGs, right? Is that they will have beautiful scores and then like a butt rock anthem that goes with it, and they just like it doesn't like it is just a part of the like cultural exchange between Japan and me that I refuse to like meet them halfway on. I just don't like it. So yeah, I don't know.
I also started playing Donkey Kong 94.
Yeah.
And
what a delight.
Yeah, and so much better than Mario versus Donkey Kong.
That's interesting. It feels very much like Mario versus Donkey Kong to me.
Yeah, but I feel like we will
talk more about it in greater detail. I assume that you are playing it, of course, on Nintendo Switch Online.
I am, but I am for the first time ever in the Game Boy like NSO, and actually, honestly, maybe any of the online libraries, I'm using a different like. It's not really a filter, but like display mode.
Yeah, which display mode are you using?
So I'm using the Game Boy Color one.
Yes.
But I didn't realize that it also had the what do they call it? It's not the Game Boy Color. It's like maybe it's the Pocket. Maybe it's the Game Boy Pocket, where instead of being green
It's like gray.
and gray, it's like gray and black, so
Right.
easier to see. I don't know why I wasn't using that for, like Kirby Tilt and Tumble.
Yeah, I don't know. I frankly don't know either.
Yeah, would have made
Well,
it
Kirby
so
Tilt and Tumble is a Game Boy Color game.
Oh, then some other Game Boy? I don't know. Well, I haven't used it
Well,
before.
but I mean,
for
you
Game Boy.
could
Yeah.
you could have still played it with like the pea green color display.
Oh.
But like it has like extra functionality with the Game Boy Color.
Oh,
like, it'll
I
display
see, I
more
see.
than just the 4 colors.
Got it.
The interesting thing about Donkey Kong 94 is that it was designed with like extra Super Game Boy functionality. So the Super Game Boy was a thing that you popped into the top of your Super NES like a Game Boy or like a game, and there was a Game Boy slot in the top of it, and you could put games in there and play them on your TV, and you had like different color palettes that you could use and like cycle through. All this kind of cool stuff, borders, what have you. But the Donkey Kong 94 had a more dynamic color palette, more than 4 colors in the Super Game Boy, and replaced some of the audio samples with like stuff that it is like taking from the Super Game Boy.
Oh.
So there's like the quality of like Peach's voice, or not Peach, Pauline's voice is different in the Super Game Boy version. And some of the musical samples are also different.
But that's really interesting. I didn't
and
know
that
that.
is not available on Nintendo Switch
Okay,
Online.
that's what I was gonna ask. There is no like Super Game Boy
Right.
version. Okay, got it.
So I'm also playing it on NSO, but I'm going to investigate the Wii U. No, not the Wii U. The 3DS Virtual Console version of it, because I have that. To see if
Oh, I
there's
do
a way
too.
to turn the Super Game Boy filters on there. And if not, I have my Super NT and a Super Game Boy. I would just need to get my hands on a cartridge of Donkey Kong 94, which seems doable.
Seems doable.
So I think I'm going to go the distance on this one because I'm enjoying the game that much that I want to experience it in all the different ways that we can. All right, Mark, that's what we've been playing this week. Let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week. Someone has offered the onion. The onion offer has been accepted. Just to update you.
I think that's nice. It's a community at work.
Yes,
right?
that's right. Mm-hmm.
Nintendo Music. Were we tricked by daylight savings time?
What's happening?
Normally, they update around 5 o'clock Pacific time. 5 o'clock came and went.
Right. We should check right now. I'm going to check.
Oh, no. It did update.
It did update.
Yes. What's...
it's Tetris Game Boy.
No, it's 3. It's Tetris
What?
Game Boy, Tetris NES, and Dr. Mario for the NES.
Was Dr. Mario not... Oh, Dr. Mario... We had Dr. Mario Game Boy maybe before?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe that
Whoa.
part is not new. Maybe it's just Tetris that's new.
I mean, it's showing all 3 of these as
Yes.
like the recent highlights.
But I just wanted to shout out Maisai Ace in the Discord.
So it rhymes. It's Mace Ace.
I feel like I do that every time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do. Okay, good. Confirmation I do that every time.
You do it every time.
Maisai Ace.
Yes.
Who reported at like 5:15 there was no update, and then at 6:51 popped in to be like, just kidding, daylight savings time threw us all off.
Right.
And there was an update.
Do they not do daylight savings in Japan? Is
Maybe
that why
they do have a summertime, but it may not. I don't know, but it may not
Right.
align with the same time, because that's how it is in Europe. Like there is summertime in Europe, but it doesn't align with when we start daylight savings time.
Sure. Yes. So I was right. Dr. Mario Game Boy had already been on there.
Oh, okay.
So it's Dr. Mario NES.
All right, rounding out the Dr. Marios, the 8-bit Dr. Marios, and rounding out the 8-bit Tetris is.
Right. Tetrises? Okay. Weird. Weird, right?
Yeah, not really soundtracks that I'm looking to revisit. Although, like, the Dr. Mario one.
It's pretty good, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad music. It's just. I mean, no one wants to listen to that.
No, it's just like. All right.
Let's see. Today, March 18th, MLB The Show 25 is released for Switch. Still just kind of remarkable that this Sony developed game is showing up on all platforms at this point.
I wholly agree. I'm glad we are still continuing to point it out, even though we're never going to play an MLB The Show game.
And then,
although I did buy 21 or 22.
oh, did you really?
Yeah,
Was that the one with the puppet coach?
No,
Oh, okay.
I bought one before the puppet coach. Who is evidently like a character and like a real thing, and you and I didn't know what he was, but he's real. And is his name just Coach?
Could be.
Okay. And Pokemon Day is
February 27th.
and Dominic Monaghan's character in Rise of Skywalker.
Beaumontkin.
There we go. Okay, good. I forget even the point I was trying to make. Oh, that I bought it for Sarah during the pandemic because it was like everyone was depressed and like wanted a baseball outlet. And I think we played one game and we're like, this is too complicated. We've not been playing this show for 20 years.
Right.
So all of the different like control schemes didn't make any sense to us. But yeah, so I've played one game of that.
And then on Thursday, March 20th, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. Butt Rock Ahoy.
So yes, Butt Rock Ahoy, and also I mean, we will talk about this more on Thursday, but I do not plan at this point to buy this game to pick it up, and I didn't get Donkey Kong Country Returns HD when it came out in January. I feel like I'm just luxuriating in the I don't have to buy everything Nintendo puts out
for now
period that we're in right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's gonna change later this year.
Well, there's a whole new console.
And
you're only human.
And I'm only human, and I have some addictions, which again we will talk about on Thursday.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm feeling very good about just being like, I just let this one go.
Yeah, I just don't feel like there's any chance that I would ever play it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I do have to say that of all the Xenoblade Chronicles games, this is the one that always intrigued me the most
because it's so open worldy.
And I just remember the setting. When they first like revealed it and everything, like the setting seems really cool.
Yeah.
But obviously I didn't know it was Earth, so
I mean, it's some kind of like weird future Earth.
Sure. But yeah, I don't think there's really anything that I'm picking up this week out of this list.
Yeah, likewise. All right, Mark, let's get out of the new releases. Which brings us to a regular segment on our show. It is time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, where a performer or group of performers did not play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance, 433, Mark and I'll talk about something not all Nintendo related. That's fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, as we record this on Monday, it is St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day. How do you feel about St. Patrick's Day? Neither of us are wearing green.
Wait, am I? Hold on. Am I wearing green?
This is a great question. We're checking our underpants.
Oh, I am technically wearing.
You are
like a forest green.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm wearing red.
Okay. So I think. Well, do you get some sort of dispensation for being named Patrick?
Okay. Waiting for it to come up. As a child, that was something that was like, it felt like it was hurled at me like an insult. St. Patrick's Day, this must be your day. Everyone thinks they're so funny, but it's not that funny because I've heard it a million times.
Also,
yeah,
you're a saint. Joke's on them, because you get to do whatever it is saints do.
I've performed at least 2 miracles.
Died a horrible death, presumably. I don't know.
I don't know how.
Is that a requirement?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I think the only requirement is that you need 2 requirements, right? That you need to be like a man or woman of God.
Okay.
And
check.
Have performed. Sure. I've performed. I believe there has to be 2 miracles.
2 separate miracles.
2 separate miracles. Maybe it can be the same miracle.
Yeah,
twice.
I don't know. I don't know why I said that with any amount of confidence. I have no clue.
And St. Patrick's. Well, it says St. Patrick did bring people back from the dead. Did you know this?
But the one we celebrate him for is driving snakes out of Ireland?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He brought people back from the dead and is the patron saint of excluded people.
Oh.
I don't really know what that means. Not excluded snakes, though.
No.
Maybe the patron saint of excluding snakes from Ireland.
Very good.
Do you, Mark, do you have, is there any Irish in the Mitchell?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
What are you guys?
Yeah, we're mostly like Ashkenazi Jew
Mm-hmm.
and then Danish.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. Very good. We've got a little bit not on the so my my maternal grandmother, she's a quarter Irish, but otherwise we're German.
Oh, okay.
So, there's a wee bit of Irish in my background, but
So is Patrick a family name?
no. Patrick, all three of my siblings, my two siblings and myself, all three of the Ellers kids, just have names that my parents liked.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all family names. I do have my uncle's first name, so my mom's brother, is my middle name, but that's it.
Yeah. That's kind of fun.
What is?
Just to pick names that you like.
Yeah?
There's like no like strings attached to it, no preconceived, it's just
Yeah, but then you gotta like I don't know. They're strange names. We had sort of like they're all like pretty vanilla normal names.
sure.
But like there's a story I want to tell you, but I realized I want to tell it to you off mic.
That's totally fair.
Not here.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
St. Patrick's Day, big drinking holiday,
Uh-huh.
of course. Maybe one of the biggest.
Probably the biggest.
Maybe behind New Year's, right?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe it's. I mean, like New Year's and Halloween are both big drinking holidays.
I feel like New Year's and Halloween are, and so I would say my guess is St. Patrick's Day first,
number one.
just because I feel like at this point St. Patrick's Day is purely
that's true. That's all it is.
A drinking holiday,
right? It's a drinking and wearing green holiday.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and like Christmas ends up being a drinking holiday, but like sort of just steadily throughout. Course of like a week. But yeah, so Mark, of course, the question is, have you ever gone out and done like a proper like pub crawl?
I don't think I have.
Mark.
I know, shocking. Because I am, of course, well known as the party animal of Nintendo Cartridge Society.
I have at some point in our friendship gone out drinking with you that was like our stated goal, right? That's going to be the end of 433.
I guess we'll never know. I'll have to think about it. I mean, probably.
Back when we were doing like improv together, I'm sure we went out like after a show or something.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right. That does feel like a little bit of a different thing. But all right, we were accompanied today by a timer on my phone. Mark, let's get into the news.
A new FCC filing suggests that a wireless GameCube controller could be in production for Nintendo Switch 2.
Fascinating stuff, and we'll talk about it more, but I just want to just pin here that like this is how we first heard about the Nintendo 64 controller,
right?
And therefore also the library. This is how we first heard about the Super NES controller and that library. So like I am currently believing that we are seeing smoke and that there will be fire.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we have seen this pattern before.
Yes.
And it has always ended up in one direction, which is that a game library gets added to Nintendo Switch Online. So the filing contains the code prefix indicating it's compatible with Switch 2, which is BEE. The other FCC filings have included that. There's a diagram of the placement on the FCC notice label, and it's lined up with the back of the C-stick on the GameCube controller.
So it's so funny that, like, Mark, have you seen this graphic? So it's like a rectangle wherein like the controller would be placed, and then just like a little box, and it says label in it. To be like, here is where it appears on the thing, even though we don't have the shape of the object at all.
Right.
But if we assume that the object is a regular old wired GameCube controller, and all the rest of these classic console controllers have been perfectly to scale and like the same shape as their original, this would be on the back of like the C-stick.
But I feel like we're all making the leap that it is a GameCube controller.
That's true. That is true. We are all making but what other controller would it be?
Well-
and don't say Virtual Boy.
No, but couldn't it be a new Pro controller? There must be a reason. It seems so obvious to me. There must be a reason why people are like, "Oh, this isn't a new Pro controller. This is a GameCube controller."
That's a good point. It could just be the new GameCube or the new. They could be the new Pro controller. Maybe we've already seen that filing.
Yeah, maybe. It could totally be true.
Right.
The other thing this makes me think of is like, okay, if the timing of this lines up with the reveal of the Switch 2, we're just a couple of weeks out now, and I can't see them spending a lot of time in that presentation talking about like
a virtual console thing.
But I guess I could see them saying, "Oh, all of the NSO library," when they're talking about backwards compatibility,
right?
Like all the NSO libraries from the Switch will be available. Plus
you
we'll
get
be
a
adding
new one, right?
GameCube. I don't know. It seems not that everything that they're preparing for the Switch 2 is going to be announced in that,
of course,
showcase, but it feels weird to spend time on something like this.
Well, let me ask you this, and I hope we get predictions about this as well. Obviously, we're going to be seeing new Joy-Con, right?
Right.
For the Switch 2. Is there any reason for them to make a new Pro controller, like an actual like newly designed controller that's not just like the same thing but it says Switch 2 on it?
The reason I could think that they would need to or want to is if somehow they were going to incorporate the mouse pointer functionality into the Pro controller. I have no idea how that would work.
Right.
But possibly that.
Well, and also there was like a rumor at some point about like a Pro controller like thing that broke apart to be used as a mouse too. So maybe
I think that was part of like a patent filing.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, we have become patent and filing detectives here.
And by that, I mean, I see headlines that other people post about this stuff.
Right.
Don't interrogate it too closely.
Look, I see screenshots of things from Twitter on Reddit, and then I don't read any further.
Right.
But yeah, if the mouse functionality is such a big part of like what the rest of this stuff is, maybe it would be a bridge too far to also be like, and then here's the like vanilla Pro controller that doesn't have mouse functionality, and they're like, okay, well, we just kind of like reassign that lane for GameCube controller and really supporting this GameCube library.
Right. Because, I mean, I'm totally assuming that the existing Pro controllers will continue to work. But I'm also assuming that there's going to be new functionality in these new Joy-Con, the mouse pointer functionality, possibly some other things that they will want to incorporate into the Pro controller as well. Probably like more haptic feedback would be my guess, like things like that. But could also be a game, like you said, very possible that there's a reason everybody's pointing to GameCube controller instead of new Pro controller, and that's just a headline that I didn't scan quickly while I was
right. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thank you for listening.